At an age when many musicians would prefer a quiet life away from the spotlight, Paul McCartney continues to prove that creativity does not have an expiration date. More than 6 decades after the Beatles changed the sound of popular music forever, McCartney remains one of the world's most recognized artists, still writing songs, performing for audiences, and revisiting the memories that shaped his extraordinary journey. His story is not only about fame, sold-out concerts, and legendary albums. It is also about a young boy from Liverpool who lost his mother early, found comfort in music, built a friendship with John Lennon, and became part of a cultural movement that transformed the world. Today, McCartney's name represents more than a successful career. He represents an entire era, a time when 4 young musicians from England became the voice of a generation. From Liverpool streets to global fame. Paul McCartney was born on June 18, 1942, in Liverpool, England. His childhood was shaped by ordinary experiences: school, family life, football, and music. His father, James McCartney, was a musician who encouraged his son's interest in melodies and instruments. One of the most important moments of Paul's early life came when he lost his mother, Mary, to illness when he was only 14 years old. The tragedy deeply affected him, but music became a way to express emotions he struggled to explain. Around the same period, rock and roll from America was changing the world. Artists such as Elvis Presley, Little Richard, and Buddy Holly inspired teenagers across Britain, including McCartney. The young musician began learning guitar and writing songs, discovering that music could become a personal language. In 1957, he met John Lennon at a church event where Lennon's band, the Quarrymen, was performing. Their meeting would become one of the most important partnerships in music history. The two teenagers quickly connected through their shared love of American rock and their desire to create something new. Together, they started writing songs that would eventually become classics. The Beatles' revolution. When the Beatles arrived in America in 1964, few people expected the scale of what would happen next. Their appearance on television and their concerts created what became known as Beatlemania. Millions of fans followed every move of the band members. Their hairstyles, clothing, humor, and music influenced popular culture around the world. McCartney became known as one of the group's main composers. His ability to create memorable melodies combined with Lennon's more experimental songwriting created a unique musical partnership. Songs such as Yesterday, Hey Jude, and Let It Be became timeless works that continue to be played decades later. But behind the success was a demanding lifestyle. The Beatles were constantly recording, traveling, and performing. They experienced a level of attention that few artists before them had ever faced. By the late 1960s, the group began exploring new musical directions. Albums such as Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band showed that popular music could become more ambitious and artistic. The Beatles were no longer simply a pop group. They had become a cultural phenomenon. The end of the Beatles and a new beginning. In 1970, the Beatles officially ended, a moment that shocked millions of fans. For McCartney, the breakup was emotionally difficult. The group had been a major part of his identity since his teenage years. Many musicians struggle after leaving a successful band, but McCartney quickly began building a new chapter. He formed the band Wings with his first wife Linda McCartney and continued exploring different styles of music. Wings achieved major success with songs such as Band on the Run, and proved that McCartney's creativity existed beyond the Beatles. His career after the 1960s showed an important truth: he was not only a member of a legendary group. He was also a songwriter capable of standing alone. The personal side of a legend. Public attention often focuses on McCartney's achievements, but his personal life has also shaped his music. His relationship with Linda McCartney became one of the most important partnerships of his life. Linda was not only his wife but also a musician, photographer, and creative partner. Their collaboration influenced McCartney's work during the Wings years. Family has always remained central to him. Despite decades of international fame, McCartney has often spoken about the importance of ordinary moments, spending time with loved ones, writing songs at home, and finding inspiration in everyday life. Unlike many celebrities who completely separate themselves from the past, McCartney continues to embrace his history. He frequently performs Beatles songs during concerts, understanding that these songs belong not only to him but also to generations of fans. A living connection to music history. One of the most remarkable things about Paul McCartney is his ability to connect different generations. People who discovered the Beatles in the 1960s continue to attend his concerts, while younger listeners discover his music through streaming platforms, films, and family traditions. His career demonstrates how powerful songwriting can be. A song written decades ago can still create emotions for someone hearing it for the first time today. McCartney has received countless awards and honors, but his greatest achievement may be his lasting influence. Few artists have managed to remain relevant across so many decades. The legacy continues. The story of Paul McCartney is not simply the story of a rock star. It is the story of a person who experienced loss, friendship, success, change, and reinvention. From a young boy walking through Liverpool streets with a guitar to one of the most famous musicians on earth, his journey reflects the power of creativity and persistence. The 1960s created the Beatles, but time created something else, a musician whose work continues beyond the era that made him famous. Paul McCartney remains a reminder that true artistry is not measured only by popularity at one moment in history. It is measured by the ability to continue inspiring people long after the first song has been played. And for millions of listeners around the world, the melody is still playing.